Oh, I had the mute off again. How's the volume level compared to my voice? It feels a little bit loud. Lovely. Just keep me updated as the stream goes on, please. Oh, I seem to have no music, no camera on the front. Why is that? My apologies, no camera. What is going on? Right, let me just double check. That's interesting, isn't it? Right, front camera. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with no camera then. And I've got no desk audio either. Why is that? Oh, there we go. Right. Okie dokie. So I seem to have no front camera for now, which I will worry about later because I will need it tonight. Okay, look, I'm just not going to worry about it right now. I don't know why I'm clicking things. Right, so in the last video we primarily added some washers to this. Now I've done a little bit of quality control, although because the next stage is going to be dry brushing. I don't think it's going to matter, but I feel that some of these where it's the wash stops, it's a little bit sudden. So I wondered. No, I'll be honest with you, actually that's okay. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get our palette. I got another one of these today. I was very happy. I don't know if I mentioned this on this particular project, but I get my palettes now from shops that sell Kinder eggs. This is a point of sale display, and then once they've sold all the top rows, a couple of shops now keeps this to one side for me, and it saves me having to buy new pallets. I have this little problem that I don't like to buy pallets, obviously. I don't like to clean pallets out, and I hate using pallets that have got stuff in them because of the, I don't know if, well, it probably will be alright, but I just feel if I mix paint in there it could contaminate the colour. Right, so the next stage, in case you've been wondering what I'm reading, I'm actually reading the booklet from that came with the troll, and the point that we're up to now is we applied the wash without watering. This is the final stage, is to dry brush on your highlight colour. I recommend dry brushing because the glazing highlights will not capture the incredible detail. First off, use a 50-50 mix of woodland brown and ivory tusk. So that's the colour that we've been using primarily, this woodland brown by Reaper, and then we're going to give a roughly 50-50 mix with this. And to be honest with you, once we've done this skin, that's going to be it for the skin, and that's going to be the majority of the model complete, which I find rather interesting, because I thought this was going to be a big project, and it now actually looks like we've almost finished it. So how's about that? So I've got my small dry brush at the ready. I want to go as small as I can with the dry brush, and so obviously we need our paints. And let me get my correct chat window. So yeah, no, we're not going to be doing music requests. What I've done is I found a playlist of copyright free music. Now that seems quiet now. How's that for music level? Yeah, because this is going on to YouTube, I found some copyright free music, so YouTube shouldn't get upset about it. We can still enjoy music, and hopefully everyone is happy. So let me find an old brush that I can do some mixing with. This is an old brush I've had absolutely ages, which I don't tend to, although I can paint with it still, because it's quite a well looked after brush. I tend to use my nicer brushes, my new Rosemary & Co brushes. I got an email from them the other day, and I asked them, I said to them, these are the brushes that I used to use, which is these ones. These are Series 33 Sable brushes. Yeah, I did actually just turn it up, but I think I turned it up too much. There we go. I think I caught the intro. The way I set my music volume is so that with my headphones turned to the lowest possible volume, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with my headphones turned to the lowest possible volume, I can still hear it just, and then I can turn it up from there, and I shouldn't need to turn it down. I've put way too much paint in there just for dry brushing, but that's the way it goes. So I haven't thinned this down at all because we're going to be dry brushing. And thinking about it now, I was a little bit worried about the colour they were asking us to use, but looking at it compared to the pure woodland brown, I don't think that's going to be too bad. In fact, even comparing it to the washed skin, it's not going to be too overly stark, is it? As long as I do this dry brush very, very subtle, I don't think we're gonna have any problems at all. Dry brushing, for the benefit of those that haven't dry brushed, it is When I first dry brushed, I would be like, oh well, that's not really having much impact. Let's put more paint on the brush, and I ended up kind of smearing lots of paint on. And what I've since learned is that you want very, very little on. See here that what I'm doing is put some paint on the brush, and I'm really rubbing it in so that there's hardly any left at all. Just as I think I'm down to about enough, I'll just give it another little rub just to get some more on. And we'll start on an area that probably won't make as much difference if I get it wrong. There we go. And I'm always trying to go against. Always try to go against the detail. I would say that is somewhere between perfect and slightly too much. I mean, I probably could go with a larger brush, but I want to keep it very focused because I know what patches I'm hitting them. And then we'll build that up slowly. So there we see, compared to say up here, it's just very subtle. I'm probably going to go over these wooden bits. I'll see how this turns out. And if you should load your brush up again with more paint, always go on very, very light, because if you have accidentally put more paint on them before, the effect is going to come out much stronger. So you want to make sure you don't, if you come out with say one stroke too heavy, you've got to go over it with the same amount all over, and then you've gone too much and then it looks awful. And that I don't think is going to look too bad. Now, I've spoken a lot about dry brushing and how I used it a lot as a beginner and how I'm trying to come away from dry brushing. And I often go back to dry brushing because it's a technique that I used right at the beginning, and I know it's a quick way to paint things. Gotta be honest with you, I've got to the point now I don't actually enjoy it as much. It is quite hard work and it does hurt your fingers a bit. So I could end up doing the whole video just of dry brushing. And it's constant quality control, always having a look back. But actually guys, the benefit of those that don't know, I wear glasses for reading, and I have this nasty habit of forgetting to wear the glasses, and then when I'm focusing close on the miniature I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm squinting my eyes a lot. So this is quite nice now, because what it's doing is there's detail that I've looked at before and I'm not really sure what you've done with it, so I've just left it, and now it's starting to highlight. I'm looking at it and going, do you know what, I don't like it that colour. So I'm now starting to plan to paint certain bits of detail, whereas if I'd have actually painted it, like see, it's got some vines running down there, if I'd have actually gone in and painted those a different colour and then gone in with the dry brush, and then I've come out and gone, I really don't like those. Then obviously I've got a different problem altogether. So I have been topping the brush up every now and again, because I want to always keep it very subtle. Now I don't seem to be getting the problem, but quite often with dry brushing you get chalkiness, and that's something that I've got to learn to deal with. Now I'm quite happy for anyone to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the way you deal with that is to not make dry brushing your last step. And so I've just stopped because I really like this song. I've heard it before a few times. Now the mushrooms are something that I'm looking at doing a different colour. I want them some really nice dark browns. Oh, sorry, I keep going off a little bit. Now also, those of you that know me on Facebook will know that it's nothing really major, but I won a prize yesterday. I'm so very happy. It's from Acid Drop. They had a flash competition. All you had to do was like a page and share it and tag a mate and all sorts of things you could do for extra entries. And I was actually tagged by my good friend Love Minis, and I sort of tagged a couple of people in, or one person actually, to be honest with you. And all of a sudden I got a message to say, well done Penny, you've won. So it's not a major competition, it was only £15, but all donations gratefully received into the hobby fund. And I've decided I'm going to look at trying out some new basing materials, because basing is something that I don't regard my skills as being really high on. And the way you get better is to keep trying. So what better way to keep trying than with free products? Right, so I'm practically done with this leg. And now I've got to be honest with you, I've never done a miniature this large before. And one of the things that I've heard is the larger the model, the smaller the model, the more you have to force the highlights. So with that in mind, I've just kind of kept this quite subtle. Now as you can see, as I'm looking at the screen, the right hand leg, his left, but my right as I'm looking, has been done, and the left hasn't. And I'm really liking that. I will accept criticism, but it's not too strong. It's just brought the colour down a shade or two, but it's also added so much. You can see there is detail on that leg, but this one it's really defined more, and it's not cartoony, is it? Or not as cartoony. So again, your criticisms are welcome. One of my own criticisms is I'd like to be able to do toenails, but I just don't have a clue how to do them. I really want to leave this leg alone, and then maybe leave it overnight, have a look at it tomorrow, and then make a decision, do I want to go any further with it? But yeah, I'm liking that. So I'll start on the other leg now. and it's starting to I'm starting to think, oh, did I actually put too much paint in the palette? So I think my brush is getting a bit clogged up, which it does do that. So what I'm going to do with this afterwards, I'm kind of asking the audience here. But as I say, I got told, well, more recently actually, I watched a video on YouTube, and they said you shouldn't be making dry brushing your final stage. You need to put something over it. Now in this particular case, I'm going to have done a wash. I don't really want to put a wash over this, but I wondered about a matte varnish or a satin varnish. Would that help? Although to be honest with you, it doesn't look too chalky. I do have sore hands though. Oh. Now if I had sore hands like 10 minutes before the end of the stream, I'd just go with it. But now I'm starting to think, oh, what can I do? I need to take a rest. But at the same time I need to, I'll tell you what, hobbying is really killing my right hand. I did a big project. Well, I can tell you about it now because it's gone up on YouTube. But I started doing a Lego bus, and I did 5 hours of it in pretty much 24 hours, and I could hardly move my arm by the time I went to bed. Oh, do you know, that's actually helping. You see there where the shade is darker, and there where it's a bit lighter, the dry brushing is showing a bit more. It's actually looking alright. To say, I looked at this shade last night and I thought, well, that's a bit blocky. But I think it's alright. I'm actually not going to go right into the bum. And I am actually going to go in with another dry brush over the top. But I'm just going to go in from a higher angle. And that'll be a slightly lighter dry brush, but it'll be slightly lighter than where I'm going quite heavy in places. The next one is just literally going to be doing like that. Quite light. I also, talking of acid drop, I received, when you buy anything from Acid Drop, you get reward points. Pin wash of outcracks in the deeper recesses. Okay. Is that after the dry brush, or sorry, is that before or after the varnish? Because we did do a deeper wash with the brown wash. That one's a little bit too heavy there, I think. That's why I'm going rather light. A little bit of plant life going on there, his toes. Right, is that just to smooth off things, or just to darken it even further? Those of you that watch me on a Wednesday evening will be pleased to know that I have got my magazine, because I've now started doing a weekly evening show all about the Route Master. Right. Of course, you don't really know what the shadows are going to look like fully until you start to dry brush it, are you? But would that be a weak Agrax Earthshade that you're thinking of, or full strength? I'm guessing it'd be a weak, sort of a 50-50, or maybe 2 parts water. And would my brown wash be okay? Or are you definitely saying Agrax Earthshade? I can't find it now. You know, I did a little bit of tidying yesterday, and I put that shade away because I didn't think I'd need it today. Oh, there it is. Cool, I used a lot of that. You're doing different than the guide says, so keep making up your own mind. Dark brown would be okay. The reason I suggested dark brown is because that's what I've been going with, and I think it would keep it consistent. But obviously, if we want a different effect, but you know, I'll make the final decision once I've done all of the dry brushing. But I think you're definitely not wrong. I have. This is why part of the reason why I love streaming is because I get viewer advice, and I've learned to always listen to my viewers. A really good example of that. Now, hopefully, I'll make a few of the more people who've been watching longer laugh. Is blonde hair. We love blonde hair now, don't we? And I just didn't have a clue how to do it once. I'm not going to do him blonde hair, but right, okay, I think no, it's funny that I say I think I'm happy with that, and then I'll spot a little bit that needs doing. Some of these little harder to reach places. What are we thinking, guys? I'm not going to get a better focus on that. Right. Okay. Part of me is saying take a break because my arm's aching a bit, but the other part of me is saying, well, you've got this paint that's drying off now. If you leave it too long, it's going to dry off, and you're going to have to mix it again. And if you mix it again, you're going to have to use the exact same shade. So I'm going to compromise. I do apologise if you guys are the kind of people who can go all day dry brushing. Then that's lovely. I'm really happy for you. I'm not. The slightest little knock or work or anything like that. This morning actually, I did my bus checks on the bus, and I went into the cab to do something, and I came out and the door swung and it hit me on the elbow, and I screamed in pain, but it actually ran down my whole, the knock, it must have hit a nerve that ran all the way down my arm. What a stripes candy like? Striped candy? I've got to be honest with you, Love Minis, I have no idea what you're talking about. Is that actually a sweet, or are we talking something else there? Oh yeah, that's it, yeah. But my hand went, I lost feeling in my hand, and quite often I might hit my elbow on something, and you kind of, it goes numb for about a minute or two. But this was like ages, and oh, that's right. I like them. Yeah, sorry. Listen, I can't show you because anyone who knows about me with sweets knows that they don't last very long. But it's basically, I think the closest you guys will have is something like taffy. It's that sugar that's kind of been stretched and then moulded and stretched and put together. Do you call that taffy? Yeah, I'm liking that. I was last night I was I've started trying to make a plan now of what I'm going to do. Now obviously I've put the base coat on the wood. Taffy, that's it, yeah. Now I really like the way that wood's, I mean obviously that's only the base coat, but I think once that wood colour has gone on, it now starts to separate it from the rest of the Mini. And I was wondering if what would be a really good idea. Oh, okay. No, I didn't either. I didn't with the I don't recall getting any with the monsters. I seem to recall saying to myself with one of the boxes, "Oh, I didn't get any sweets with it." Whether that was on purpose, I don't know. But obviously I got the extra paint, which is this green one, and that was because last month's Monsters box was delayed and we had a choice of money back, a discount, what was a discount they offered, a few extra paints and something else, and I decided that because I'm in asset drop for the new paints, I said, oh, give me a new paint. So sorry guys, I'm just having a bit of an arm move, and I'll be honest with you. Oh, you got green paint but no stump. Oh, maybe it was those bits that I got extra then. Maybe it was the bits. I assumed it was the oh, that reminds me. That was going to be my original plan, was to do an extra wash. And because obviously I'm going to consider this a mistake on my part. These parts I haven't actually primed yet, which I consider that a bit of a boo-boo, because I'm going to have to paint this up like the same wood as this one. So yeah, that's a bit of a... Oh, you got a couple of mushrooms. Oh, and I also found this last night. This is brown lichen. Am I on autofocus? I thought that was looking a bit. You know, I am worried about that camera, you know. Oh, it's actually stopped working. Okay, that's why it's not working. Right, sorry guys, bear with me. I didn't realise I was on, because obviously I'm not on autofocus. Okay, that's odd. It must be the lighting that I'm auto on. Right, well, that is going to annoy me, so I am going to sort that out. You'll have to send me some pictures of what you did get. Oh, I just realised why they... That's really strange. You know, that is bugging me now about that camera. Because it's showing, the actual camera's got lights on it, which is suggesting to me that it's working. Oh well, I'll have to sort it out later on, because I'm going to need that for tonight. Right, so yeah, I got some brown lichen, which I wonder if I can play with that, strip it down a bit and just put little random bits on the base. So hopefully before the end of the stream. Hello Dates, how are you? Yeah, I've just completed, well, I've done the dry brush on the legs, which has just really added quite a lot, I think. But my arm's aching. I'm not used to dry brushing. I'm not used to anything that requires work. I'm not a lazy person. I'm not used to work. I'm just not used to working. Even my job isn't hard work. It's more mental than anything else. Right, so I'll start at these funny little horrible bits that I hate doing, which in this case is the fingers. And this is why I've not done the wash and layering on. You know, I'm really not liking the lighting today. Yeah, I've only done the one coat, base coat on the wood, because I am expecting to get the dry brushing to go over. I think I've done that one a little bit too heavy. However, it's going to be a high light source, so it's not going to be the end of the world. I've rubbed all the paint off. I know why. It's because I've cleaned my brush. I've not pushed the paint right up into the bristles. You've got to get the paint right in, not just on the tips. Yeah, it's funny that as a beginner, whoops, that's way too much. As a beginner, I did a lot of dry brushing because that was the technique that I was taught that's good for beginners. And I've kind of always seen that as well, first of all, I went through a phase of, well, if you don't want to be a beginner all the time, you've got to stop dry brushing. And then I realised it's actually a legitimate technique. So I'm now at the stage where I think, yeah, you can dry brush, but you've got to use it at the right times. And it's basically where there's high texture. So in this case, dry brushing is perfect. This is actually really hard because you've got so much different texture going in different directions. But I think it has worked. Hey. So if there was a large straight area with lots of texture, then it'd be great. I could just go but because this is all sorts going all over the place, it's quite difficult. But you know how it goes. The more effort you spend on something, the better it looks. I mean, I like dry brushing with a large brush, but I just think with this, it just requires a smaller brush. There we go, look. It's a little bit heavy, to be honest with you. I think we can fix that. Well, I don't know why I just went over it again when it was too heavy. But I think we can probably fix that with a wash. My house just shook. There's the last remaining thing on my nagash. Oh, I'm jealous of you doing nagash. I've just heard of the Games Workshop has bought, I forgot what it's called now, but it's a new game, or new, I assume it's new, but it's to do with knights, you know, the 40k knights. Apparently this box, you get 2 knights and some terrain, pretty much for the price of one knight. So that's something I'm going to look at. Depends on the price of one knight, really, doesn't it? But I'm also at the point where I really cannot buy anything. I've got absolute tons of stuff to paint, and I've got a bank balance that's telling me don't buy anything else. Renegade, that's it. Yeah, I was watching a video today by the Miniatures paintbrush. Got to be careful here. This is the stage where my brain is wanting to get it done. So it's like, yeah, put more paint on and get it done. And then the sensible part of me is going, no. That, I'm quite liking that back now. Yeah. But I mean, if it's cheap miniatures, I don't mind a new spin, and I do like the way Games Workshop are going. You know, they used to have, obviously they've always had Hobbit, or Lord of the Rings, sorry, which didn't seem to be that popular. But their two main things was Warhammer, which changed to Age of Sigmar, and 40k, and it was pretty much, that was it. Then they've started to bring out these smaller games, which are very good for people that, you know, if you've got 6 hours to play a game, or the whole day, fine. You know, 40k and that. You know, people spend more time setting things up on 40k than they do playing it, and it's a big game to play. I'm not liking the way that I'm starting to lose this. Thankfully I'm losing it on the mushrooms. I hate it when it's going so well and then suddenly you're like, whoa. Trying to sort my brush out as well. Right. But yeah, if it's you know, these little 30 to 60 minute games, I think they're good, and if it's going to put a new spin on things, then great. And then Games Workshop, if they're starting to be successful on these little things, then wonderful. It keeps them going. And then if they're making, you know, at the end of the day they're a business, so we've got to talk about them making a profit. And if they're making a profit by putting doing these shorter things, then it just encourages them to do more, and then we win, especially if we're going to end up with cheaper miniatures. You know, how can that be a bad thing? So but yeah, I mean, is it definitely the exact same price as one night, or is it just roughly the same? What are the models like? Right, that is getting there. I've still got his face to do. I'm saving that for last because I love doing faces, because there's normally always so much detail on the face that you've only got to touch it with a dry brush and it suddenly goes bing. Now I'm hearing a lorry outside, and I'm hoping, praying to God it's the bin men, because I'll be honest with you, because I'm living in a house that's shared by many people, people don't tend to care about certain things as much, like the big pile of rubbish outside that's just been kicked over, and there's yogurt pots, and I'm not talking about like individual yogurt pots, I'm talking like family sized pots of yogurts that are about half full. I walked into one the other day and I spent ages cleaning my shoe. Do you know what dried yogurt is like getting off your shoe? It's horrible. And just because I don't own this house doesn't mean that I don't want it to be nice. And I just wish that there was a few more people like that. Oh, I've missed a bit of wood, look. Chat's pounds 1. 80 to 90. Okay. That actually, even though that's not the same price as the night, that's actually not a bad price, is it? So you basically spend an extra 20 quid, you're going to get some scenery with it, and you're always going to use that scenery, aren't you, for any sort of more modern game, futuristic. But one of the things that I like the idea of with that box, for me anyway, is that I could have a go at painting one of the knights, and then I can put the other one back in the box, and then we'll leave it for a year or two, and then I'll come back to it and I'll see if I can improve. Or if it goes out of production, I can do what everyone else does, stick it on eBay at a hugely massively inflated price and make a whopping profit. That's one of the things that annoys me, actually. That was said tongue in cheek. Yeah, you are. You're basically getting a night for free. So, oh, funny story. I don't know if I've told you this before. A long time ago, one of the models that I was after, I've got it now, is Valkyria the Bloody. Being a Chaos player, it's like one of the figures that I really wanted to get. And what Games Workshop had done, I think she was £15 or £18 standard. And what Games Workshop's done, they'd gone through a phase where they were pulling a lot of models to remake them. I think they had them in fine cast or something, and then they were reproducing them in a slightly different material. So it got a lot of stuff got pulled off the shelves, so they all went out of stock. And Valkyria the Bloody went through the phase of being one of them, and it was just I couldn't get hold of one. So I looked on eBay. I'd say the Games Workshop price was £15, and I found one on eBay. It was unpainted but broken wing, and I looked at the picture and I thought, well, with a bit of work it can be repaired. So, plus also the idea I had was to do Valkyria in fact, actually I've got her hair and I've snapped her weapon off, what a shame. So that's my Valkyria. You see there's no wings. I didn't want the wings, I wanted just to make her a bit gutted about that. Oh, that's alright. It's basically I wanted her for a conversion project anyway. So I started bidding on this Valkyria, and I didn't get it in the end because I stopped bidding at £50, which is over 3 times her price. And I think it went for about £58, and I just went, yeah, I can't pay that much. So 4 times the price for a broken model. No, I'm not that mad. And then the week after, they re-released her in plastic, or resin, sorry. So I bought her for £15. Right. So I don't know what's happened, but it's come out a little bit more chalky on the upper side. But that's alright, we'll get rid of that. With the varnish will get rid of that chalkiness, won't it? Right, let's get over his body a bit more. I'm really liking that now. Really, really am. See if I can have a little play with the focus. Right. It's a bit too much, isn't it? I want to get some of it in the camera. So there we go. So you see it's come out rather chalky. Oh, I haven't done his face yet. But there's the leg. It's quite subtle, it's not as stark as I thought it was going to be. And I may need to apply another coat. The mushrooms haven't been... No, that's the one that's causing me a lot of thought. I can't figure out if they're homemade armour plates or if they're actually growing out of them. I think that they are actually growing out of them. So I think I might darken those with a shade. And then there's his arms. He's got some little clothy bits on his, like, armbands. But as you see, it is rather chalky. So we'll just finish his face off before this paint dries on the brush altogether. And then, to be honest with you guys, that's going to be it for the session, I'm afraid. So let's see if I can, let's change the focal point to about there, and then I can actually work on it. There is hair to go on here, but I'm actually doing him as though the hair is part of his skin, and then I'll do the skin. I'll do the hair over the top. Now that's made. This is why I love the faces. Just turn that up. That seems quite a quiet track, and I can hardly hear it. So how are we liking the music choice? I thought if we can try and get some nice relaxed chill out music, I thought that'd be really good for the afternoon, and that's been turned up way too high. Turn it down. Right. That hair's quite odd because it comes down the side of his... So again, this is kind of one of the things that I said on Monday when I did a back to basics with another viewer, is that dry brushing kind of turns your model into a colouring book. It pinpoints. So you see, look, there's some detail on his head there I didn't actually notice before, and now you can see the expression on his face. And it's also telling me, oops Penny, you haven't done in his mouth. So he's now gone a lot further from being finished than I originally thought, because it's now picked up all detail that has to be dealt with, which isn't a bad thing. So our plan for tomorrow is to apply a light, I guess it's going to be a diluted wash, much more. The first one of the washes that we did yesterday was 50-50 water and wash. I'm guessing my wash tomorrow will be a lot lighter. Also, if I added a touch of colour to the varnish, do you think that would do anything nice to it? Because also I don't want him to, I don't think he's too bright, but I think he could be just toned down a little bit. I want him dark and dingy. Sorry, no, you know, I've just chucked so many questions at you. So I can't, I don't, sorry, that's my bad. I really should, I should stick to like a question a minute maximum. And I'm also quite keen to get his no colour in the varnish. Right, okay. So we'll do a diluted wash, just to sort of emphasise more of the shadows, just a little bit. then we'll go all over with the varnish, and then we'll look at any other details that need sorting out, and then hopefully that will finish the skin off. We also need to pick up on that little bit of wood there that's sticking out of them that I've only just noticed, and then we'll start to look at these. Do you know what, actually I'm thinking, let me throw an idea at you guys. Let me clean the brush. But right, these wood panels down near the bottom of his feet, I'm now starting to think we could do that. Yeah, pin wash, I'm sorry. Do it the same colour as this wood there, but now, because that's growing out of him, but now change the colour of this log to something different, or do a lot more with it. I don't want this wood to necessarily be the same wood as the one that's grown out of him, but it might bring it, I don't know. Right, these are all ideas I'm throwing in my head. So right, so I'm going to clean my brush now, and then I'm going to call it a day. It's funny that we've not done much in terms of, we've just done the one thing, but I think actually it's had an awful lot of effect, hasn't it? Compared to a couple of days ago when it looked good just with a base coat, but now it's looking really good with a dry brush, and it's getting there. And we've gone from, oh god, this is going to take absolutely ages to paint, to, actually it's not, it's progressed quite far now. So I'm trying to get the right focus on them. So the pin washing is all going to be in there, is it? And down the middle of the back, where the natural shadows would fall. And that'll be a diluted pin wash, diluted wash, about 2 to 1, 3 to 1, which too neat. Right, I'm going to stop the music now. I'm going to treat the Twitch viewers to a stream, to a raid, sorry. And yeah, that will, where the pin washing is good, correct. So about a 2 to 1, sorry, 1 to 1. So 1 part wash, 1 part water. Can always, the way I see washes, if you dilute them and you've over diluted them, you can always add a bit, you can add another layer. But if you go in too much, do you know what, I've only got one person online at the moment that I can see of, and I'll see what they're actually doing, and they're drawing. So I'll see if I can find, is there anything specific you were into, like miniature painting, or come on. Right, so I'm just going to have a little look through the creative channels to see if there's anything that sticks out. Oh, here we go. We've got someone that I've never seen before. And it's someone called Major Dodo. Oh! Travarian. Okay, well look, I'm quite happy. I'll make sure they are actually online. We've done raids before to people that aren't actually online. Right. Do forgive me for this. Oh, do you know what? Why have I not discovered this streamer? Road to Golden Demon Dusseldorf. YouTube or bust. Liking the sound of this guy already. Right, okay, so raid is now in progress. thank you for that suggestion. So I should be disappearing in, what do I get, 30 seconds? So thank you everyone who's been watching. I really appreciate the support and thank you for the help. I think he's starting to look good. I think by the end of tomorrow he'll look really good. He really is progressing, and I'm going to give that bit of wood there a bit of a thought, as well as these bits down here. Okay guys, love you all, bye, peace, and I've got to sort my webcam out, haven't I?